And this is how I knew when shit was literally about to hit.
Alright, what is going on,
moment
people?
I went in,
My name is
literally
Chilly
looked
back
like
at you with another chill.
She's laying down on the floor.
I've definitely been trying to crank these out more,
and I couldn't do that.
There's literally
without
white
awesome
foam in
sponsor,
front
like
of her
JK
on
distro
the
that
carpet.
allows me to do the
and keep
freedom
in mind
of
this
whatever I
is a
want
shitty
to do,
apartment, so
while
of course
also
it's a
using
fucking
and trying
bad
good
carpet.
ass products. I am gonna be smoking some of their THCA today. But yeah, so today we got another story time. This one is a very interesting one. I actually told this one years ago before I even had like 2,000, if 1,000 subscribers. And that is this one time at band camp, right? This one time a long time ago, I was smoking with a friend and his girlfriend, and I guess she didn't smoke. He never told me this. We played this game, and she literally freaked the fuck out. I thought she was going through an exorcism. Cheers to that. Shout out to JK Distro, and let's go ahead and get into the story time, man. This, of course, starts out as a young chilly dilly at the age of 18. Now, this story is also very important in my life because this is the time that I met Wesley, which I've talked about in other story times that I'm sure you guys have heard about. Sorry, I'm just seeing some like weird, I don't even know what the fuck I'm seeing, but I swear I'm not tripping. But this is actually the first time that I ever met Wesley. So I was in South Carolina, 18, or about to turn 18. It was one of the two, because I graduated at 18 because my birthday is in November. It doesn't matter. My mom is a full-time employee at Cracker Barrel at the time, so I'm not seeing her at all. I'm pretty much just an adult living in my mom's apartment at the time, and so I had complete freedom. And so I met a couple people at the school that I'm like brand new to. This is right when I moved there. I meet some guy named Charles. Super cool guy. We weren't friends after this incident, which I don't really know why. I mean, I feel like I handled it pretty good, but you guys will definitely let me know. Anyway, I smoked with Charles a couple times. He was like the weekend kind of every once in a while smoker. He took school pretty serious. He didn't want to be super stoned because of his parents, etc. Like, I completely get that, you know what I mean? Anyway, he has this girlfriend. I'd maybe met her like once, but I mean, you know that high school shit, you don't really hang out like that. But yeah, Charles wanted to come over to my crib because I lived right by the school. He was like, yeah, we're gonna smoke today, blah, blah, blah. I don't even know why he was like so excited to smoke that day. Probably because his girlfriend wanted to. And I think that he said that I can't 100% remember now, but I believe she had never even smoked before. So this is her first time ever smoking. And I got some cones. I know that because I couldn't roll at the time, so I always packed cones. I had to go buy them. And yeah, so I packed a couple cones, and me, him, and his girlfriend are chilling at my apartment. And, you know, it was a beautiful day. It was still like 5, 6 o'clock, a little bit after school. I know that she had drove there. So like me and him drove to my crib after school. And then she like met us there like an hour later. Anyway, so we play this game called baseball. I believe that's what it's called. So essentially what it is that you hit a joint a couple times and you hold it until it goes back to you. So it was only 3 people, so it wasn't even that much. Like, you know, we were still holding our breath for like 5, 6 seconds, but like at most, you know. But you know, we try to slow it down and make it a little fun. But once again, keep in mind, you know, I'm young. I'm smoking a lot. Charles is, you know, he handles weed good. You know what I mean? I already know that. I've smoked with him. Even though he doesn't smoke a lot, he still doesn't freak out. He doesn't get nothing bad happens. Like, he's chill to smoke with, you know? But I didn't think about the girl. And this is definitely negligence on my part and a learning lesson. Because after that, I never forced anybody to like over smoke. I always, if somebody told me that was their first time smoking, I always made them go very easy. Just take a couple hits. Don't get crazy with it. Because yeah, I mean, that shit almost scarred me, bro. Like, it was fucking crazy. So we're doing this and we get through like the first joint, right? And we're like, fuck it. We want to spark another. We want to spark another. The girl's like really quiet now. Like, we're obviously coughing, listening to music. I'm probably playing Mac Miller at the time because that's what I was really into. I think I was like really into like Faces or something around that time. And, or no, I know I was like I was starting to really get into reggae around that time. So I was probably listening to like Sublime or fucking Pepper or somebody, being a fucking stoner, but still looks like this. Like, I don't know. Anyway, she's starting to get real quiet. Me and him are literally laughing, giving off all the good positive effects that happen when you smoke cannabis. We're having a good time. I'm literally watching the sunset. Like, it's a beautiful day. It feels great out. It's fucking South Carolina, so of course it feels good. And yeah, we're just chilling. And then she goes in, right? This is when I should have known. And you know what you need to know? Did you know that 64% of you are not subscribed to the channel? Literally just 10 to 20% more of you did. We'd be up at 30, 40,000 subscribers. You would literally be changing my life even more than you already are. And I would greatly appreciate it, bro. So she goes in. I'm not thinking anything of it once again because I'm young, I'm dumb, I don't care. I think in my brain, like, she's not saying, like, she didn't say, oh, I feel bad or anything. So in my brain, everything's fine. But once again, I should know. And, you know, this is definitely advice to anybody now that is younger and does smoke with people. And if it's their first time, you know, definitely look out for them because you want it to be a good experience so that way, you know, they want to. I imagine the way this girl had her experience was she probably didn't smoke again after that ever. So it had been like 10 minutes passed by. She's been chilling in there. And Charles and me smoked the other joint. And then he's kind of like, okay, like, where the fuck is my girlfriend? If you're an OG of the channel and you did watch this, that came out almost 2.5 years ago, then you'll know what happens next that is actually pretty crazy. So a little bit of time goes by, Charles is in there, I'm out there smoking a cigarette, you know, coming down, feeling that high because I just smoked 2 joints fucking playing this baseball game, like dummy fucking baked, you know what I mean? So baked. And so I'm just out there smoking a cigarette and I noticed that Charles has been in there for a minute too. And I had like left the door cracked and there was blinds on the whole door so I couldn't really see in. And I just remember like kind of hearing him kind of just be like, cause I had the music up and I'm smoking a cigarette and I'm high as fuck. And I kind of hear him being like, are you okay? Are you okay? And then I'm like, fuck. And this is how I knew when shit was literally about to hit the fan. The moment I went in, it literally looked like an exorcist was happening. She's laying down on the floor in a very, what looks like uncomfy position. There's literally white foam in front of her on the carpet. And keep in mind, this is a shitty apartment, so of course it's a fucking bad carpet. And, you know, he literally has a little bucket that I know has a bunch of, like, cigarette ash in it from where my mom fucking dumps her ashtray in there. And I'm thinking, what is going on? And I'm just seeing foam on the floor, or what looks like foam. You know, it's really just puke. More like, what I know now, it's like acid reflux, essentially. It's like true just stomach acid that didn't really take a color. I know that sounds weird, but if you don't really eat anything, like, that's kind of what's gonna happen. Or if you like were to puke up water, like if you chugged a lot of water, it'd probably look a little bit like that, be more liquidy. I know that's nasty, but I'm just being honest, bro. Like, I'm being completely descriptive of what I saw, like, when I walked in there. I was like, oh my God. And he looks right at me and starts like freaking the fuck out. So like, this dude that was valid is not valid anymore, bro. Like, he's freaking out, which I get, you know what I mean? But I'm thinking, okay, like, and she's sitting here saying, it's laced, the weed is laced, the weed is laced. So he's naturally freaking out, being like, oh my God, is it? Like, are we gonna die? Are we gonna blah, blah, blah? And I'll admit, okay, thinking back about it now, the weed did look a little weird. It did look like more red. It had like a reddish tint, a very, very orange tint. But weed back then just all looked very like interesting. You know what I mean? It looked beautiful, some of it. I would say that this wasn't fucking laced though. I can guarantee you that. It was regular weed, bro, because I was completely normal stoned. And so was Charles. And I was like, bro, like, you guys are sitting here freaking out. I was like, I get it. I was like, you know, maybe it's just because this is your first time smoking. Maybe you just smoked too much. I was like, because I didn't even know at the time that people could really freak out with weed. I was always ignorant and being like, oh, well, why can't everybody smoke? I didn't know that some people freak the fuck out if they smoke too much, bro. It's too much for them, you know what I mean? And so, like, you got to really ease into it. And so, you know, I was just pretty much being like, bro, like, if she, like, it's not laced. Like, if I'm good and you're good, like, and she's the only one that's fucked up, like, that's obviously right there that it's not laced. Like, we would be tripping as well. I was like, I think it's just because she's like freaking the fuck out, which is, I was like completely normal. But I didn't really know him like that. Like, I just met this guy. Like, I just went to that school year this year. I had maybe known him for like a couple months, if that, only hung out with him a couple times. And yeah, so he's just freaking out. And like, of course I am like, bro, like, this isn't even, you know, like technically my house. Like, this is my mom's house. Like, my mom doesn't want to come home after working 10 hours and see, you know, fucking 3 seniors, pretty much adults at this point, essentially, that she could probably be held accountable for. And, you know, this girl's freaking the fuck out. And he's all like, bro, you know, I was like, you guys can stay for, like, you know, until she's literally about to leave. I was like, I don't care about that, but I was like, you can't stay here. I was like, once my mom gets back, like, you guys gotta go. He starts freaking out. I was like, oh my God, bro, I can't believe you do all this to me. And I'm like, bro, what do you mean? Like, what would your parents do? Like, I was like, if you're that worried, like, take her to your parents. And he was like, no, my parents would freak out. And I was like, why wouldn't mine? And I was like, bro, at the end of the day, like, you're gonna have to take her home, and she's gonna have to, like, just deal with this. Like, you know what I mean? Tell her parents and be like, I gotta go to the hospital, or she's gonna, you know, have to just fucking ride it out. You know what I'm saying? And I let them chill for a couple hours, and she was fine. She puked out one time. I had to clean it up, by the way, which is disgusting. And it really ruined my high. But this is where I met Wesley, because like I had told you, he was freaking out and kept being like, even every 30 minutes, he was like, bro, you gotta let us stay here, bro, you gotta let us stay here. And I was like, no, Charles, like I kept being like that. I was like, look, you can rather just leave now and like have no help. I was like, or you can figure it, like, I can help you figure it out right here. And we did. And that's where I met Wesley. So he calls Wesley and Cody, which Cody was the guy that we threw this party. Anyway, he knew Cody more than Wesley. And Wesley and Cody were best friends. So they come over. He calls Cody to come over because she drove separate, like I told you back in the beginning, if you remembered. She drove separate. So Cody was going to drive her car or her truck with her in it, or with Wesley in it. And then Charles was going to drive her, like, in his car. And then they were all going to drive back. Or maybe Wesley got in, like, his car and followed them. Because Charles didn't come back. Like I said, I didn't see Charles ever again after this. So Wesley comes over. And Cody is, like, instantly being like, oh, is she okay? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, bro, she's fucking fine, man. Like, she was completely fine. You know what I mean? And she was literally embarrassed. Like, he was embarrassing her, really, man. He was freaking out, which I get it. It's his girl. I get it. I wish I would have handled it a little better looking back at it now. I wish I would have been nicer, maybe, but I didn't know at the time, like I said, that you can freak out. But yeah, so Wesley came over, and then Cody's like instantly like talking to her, talking to them, and me and Wesley instantly are just like, what up? Like, I didn't even know this man. Like, instant fucking friend energy right away. Like, we both knew, we dapped each other, and he was like, what happened? And I was like, we were just smoking, playing that baseball game, and we smoked like a joint, and I was like, and she just started freaking out, really. I was like, she said it was laced, but it wasn't. And he was like, it's probably because she never smoked. And I was like, yeah, probably. And then he was like, you still got some weed? And I was like, yeah. I was like, do you? And then he was like, yeah. And then he had this shit called Christmas tree because it was around Christmas time. So I was like, fuck. So they went and dropped her off. He came back, and we smoked. I remember because that's like the first person I met that had such a like weird little one-hitter pipe, and I was like, nah, bro, like, we gotta be smoking fucking joints and shit. So we ended up having to learn how to roll and shit together. That's the homie. It's a lot of videos with him, man. But Charles never talked to me after that. The girl was completely fine, but it was really scary, like I said, because like I come in there and she's just looking like all kinds of cartoon fucking fucked up, like on the ground, and I'm like, what? And then he's freaking out, and like, I don't know, bro. Teenagers are crazy, that's for sure. I mean, we were actually 18, like, maybe she was like 17, but, and my mom knew none of it until later, of course, because I actually told her like a couple years down the line. I would just always love to, like, I don't know about you guys, but I just like to always sprinkle in little crazy shit that they would fucking get so mad to back in the day that they can't now, because obviously, I mean, I don't live with my parents. Haven't lived with them in like 8 years, so yeah. Anyway, well, really, I've only lived with them like for 1 year in my adult life, and I moved out at 18, so I only lived with my parents for like 1 year, bro. I just was not about it. I got caught so many times smoking because I just didn't care. I just wanted freedom. I didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to do anything like that. I just wanted to smoke all day, and that really was a bad thing, and it led to a lot of other negative things. So yeah, definitely make better use of your time, and smoke with people that smoke. Don't smoke with somebody that's new, and if you do, definitely help guide them. Don't be a fucking asshole, and don't peer pressure. And if people don't want to smoke, don't fucking make them smoke, for real, dude. Like, that shit's so dumb. Like, you're gonna make them hate it more just because you might be like, oh, bro, but I get so baked, it feels so good. Like, that's how I thought. But then when I started meeting people that were like, oh, I don't smoke because like, people would just say, I don't like it. and never expand on that. But then once you start to ask them, like actually dig deep, it's always like, it makes me paranoid. I ate an edible, it made me paranoid, blah, blah, blah. Anyway though, hope you guys did enjoy this story time. Like I said, I did make this like 2.5 years ago. I took it down. I mean, it didn't even have 1,000 views. So definitely blow this one up. Hopefully you guys like it, because it is a good story. And it's what led to a lot of crazy shit. So maybe go back, rewatch a lot of the story times. You'll hear Wesley. And that's just kind of how we met, man. Fucking crazy, bro. You never know who you're gonna meet, bro. That's always been my big thing in life, is like, you never know what's gonna happen. You just never know what could happen. Like, you know what I mean? It's so crazy. Some of the people that I've met from moving all over, just being in certain situations, and then all of a sudden you're meeting like super cool people. So hell yeah, man. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed the End Bump, you can send your own to chillydillyendbumps. But I'm out this bitch.